Hi everyone and welcome back to the online training at Edu4Sure. So in our today's tutorial of Adobe Illustrator, we are going to learn about the appearance panel from basic introduction to the advanced effects that we can create by using the appearance panel. So now, as you know, like if you create a design element and if you add certain effects onto that design element, sometimes it becomes a very tedious task to keep track of your appearance, to keep track of your art's appearance. And because since you have applied multiple visual effects on that particular art or design, all right, so fortunately, Illustrator comes with a core hub from where we can quickly edit and fix all those effects on the go. But before starting, let me tell you what is the appearance panel. So the appearance panel is an incredible feature of Adobe Illustrator, which helps us edit one object in many different ways. It makes it pretty easy to manage different properties of one object simultaneously without making copies of it. So the appearance panel further allows us to modify and add to the visual presentation of an object. The appearance panel is personally, in my experience, the best gateway to working with appearance attributes. One often applies multiple appearance to layers, groups, objects, fills, and even strokes. So, however, this makes the hierarchy of attributes in the artwork a bit complex, and it becomes difficult to figure out which effect is doing what to which layer. So, this is where the appearance panel swoops in. The appearance panel shows you the fill, strokes, graphic styles, and various other effects that you have applied to an object, group, or layer. So all you got to do is follow along with me for the today's tutorial, and this appearance panel can really become a game changer for you if you are into logo designing or creating anything in Illustrator, and it is really going to boost up your skills, and you will surely upskill with this particular tutorial. And I hope that you're going to enjoy today's tutorial. So sit back and just watch how this appearance panel will help us in creating various effects. Okay, but before that, let us see what all points that we're going to cover in today's tutorial. Okay. All right. So the first thing would be the introduction to the appearance panel. Now, by default, maybe in your Illustrator program, you will not be able to see where is the appearance panel. So all you got to do is go to window and search for the appearance panel. We'll see into that once we go to Adobe Illustrator software, and I'll give you a basic introduction of where is the appearance panel and what all features does it hold. Okay, then applying multiple properties to one object. So we are going to create a basic shape or a basic, I would say, some basic shape or a custom design, and we're going to give it multiple properties, and then we are going to look how this appearance panel would help us in managing those properties without changing or making copies of that particular object. All right, next would be changing shape size after adding effects. So this is somewhat similar to the second point. Once we have added two or more effects using the appearance panel, we can again change the size of that particular object without having to disturb the other layers on which the effects has been added. So if you're going to change one single object's size, it is automatically going to apply that to the other layers as well. All right, and then at last we are going to see we are going to cover creating and saving graphic styles. So what are graphic styles? Graphic styles are basically, let's see that you have created an effect using the appearance panel or anything that you have created in Adobe Illustrator, and you're going to apply those same effect to certain other objects that you will create later on. So for that, what you can do is you can just save your design or effect in the art graphic style panel, and you can just simply click and drag to save your graphic style, and then apply that particular graphic style multiple times to other objects that you're going to create in the future. So first we'll create a graphic style, and then we'll look into how to save that particular graphic style. Okay, all right. Okay, now let's start and start using the appearance panel. Now, if you're not able to see your appearance panel, you can go to Windows and search for appearance. The shortcut for this panel is Shift plus F6. Okay, so this is my appearance panel. This is what it would look like. So right now you can see there are some sort of layers which says fill, stroke, and opacity, and various other features. We are going to look into them one by one. Now let's start by creating a basic shape. Let's say I draw a star. Okay. Now, as you can see that by default, whatever settings that we had, whatever effects that we have chosen earlier, right now the star is being made from those effects only, like a default stroke was given, right? And what if I want to delete the default appearance? What if I don't want any fill or any stroke which was there by default? How can I do that? Then, or let's say there was some sort of fill as well. Okay, first you have to select the object. All right, now let's say there was this fill color and the black stroke that was given to the star, but I don't want this appearance at all. What if I want to delete everything that was there in this particular star? How can I do that? All you have to do is select the star, and in the appearance panel, go to this triple bar symbol, just click on this and then hit clear appearance. Now you see right now the fill and the stroke has vanished, but where our object is still selected, and we can see the blue highlight and the bounding box around this particular object. Now let's say I just click anywhere else on the artboard. The object is not visible to me anymore. Why? Because right now the object is flat. It has no fill and no stroke. And to select that object again, if you hover from that point where the object was placed, you can see this blue highlight is coming, which is showing the path of that particular object. Now, if I click on this path, that object gets selected. And let's say I will give some sort of a stroke to this particular star. I'll give it a blue stroke as of now. And I'll increase the width of this stroke. So you can change the settings of the star. You can change the fill color, the stroke width from the properties panel, where we have the shortcut for appearance panel, and otherwise you can change all these settings from the appearance panel. Then again, if you have the object selected, you can change those settings from the control panel as well and from toolbar as well. Okay. All right, so I'm increasing the stroke width. Now, this is one stroke that we have given to this particular star. What if I want to add one more stroke onto this particular star? How can I do that? Now, for that, you have to come to your appearance panel. And if you look at this particular icon, which says add new stroke, all you have to do is click on this, and then you can see there is another layer that is getting created in the appearance panel, which says stroke. Now I can change the color of the stroke from here, from this drop down button. And let's say now I will give it an orange color, but the blue stroke is not visible to me anymore. Why? It is because right now the stroke is being overlapped by the new stroke that we have created for this star. So in order to make it visible, I can either increase the stroke width for this one, and I can bring this blue stroke on top now. So just like you manage your layers, right? You can change your layers position. You can keep a layer on top or below of another layer. Similarly, in the appearance panel, you can manage these stroke and fill layers as well. So I'll keep this layer on top. And now if you see, I'll just zoom in. Some sort of orange and blue part is visible to you. Again, we'll increase the stroke width of the orange part. Now, if you see, both of the strokes are visible to us, right? Now, again, if you want to add, now again, if you click on this particular stroke, wherever this text is written, we'll be able to get some more features just like we have for the stroke panel. Now, if you want to align this stroke in the center, right now it's in center of the object, then you can bring it to the inside, or you can bring it to the outside as well. So for this, when you place it outside, you don't have to increase the stroke width to make it visible. You can keep it at any particular size. Now, if you wish to add more strokes to this particular object, you can do that again by following the same procedure. Just select the object, go to your appearance panel and click this icon which says add new stroke. Then again, you can change the color of this particular stroke. Let's say this time we add some yellow and click on this stroke text to set it outside. Okay. Now see, this is how you can add multiple strokes to one object. Now, what if we want to, give these strokes a bit of an effect? From where can we do that? Now, for that, you have to go to FX, wherever it's written FX, and it says add new effect. You can click on that, and then you can see a list of effects that is visible to us. And again, if we click on a particular effect, wherever this arrow is showing, which it means that it has some more effect under that category. So you can select any of the effects. You can experiment a lot with these effects. You can check them out one by one. For right now, we're going to select one of these effects. Let's see which one do we select. Now see, it has given a blur effect to this particular star. How beautiful does it look, isn't it? Now you can utilize this particular star in your backgrounds. Let's say I give a background to this artboard. Let's give some sort of a light pink background. Okay, a bit bright. Now, if you look at this, the colors are looking so vibrant on this particular background. You can even duplicate this. You can change their shape. You can rotate them. You can change the size as well. Now see, we created this effect by using the appearance panel. First, we gave multiple strokes to this particular star, and then we have given some sort of a blur effect. And now if you want to save this particular image, you can save it as usual. All right, now let's move ahead and let's say I'll open my appearance panel again. Now let's say you want to deactivate or hide one of these strokes from the star. How can you do that? By simply just clicking on this toggle visibility button, and you'll be able to see that right now the blue stroke that was given to the star just gets hidden. So if you want to hide any particular effect, you can just hide from these layers, just like we do in our layers panel. Just how we manage the visibility of layers in the layers panel, we can do the same in the appearance panel as well. All right. Okay, now moving ahead. Let's say I have the star and I'm deleting that radial blur effect. See, if I turn this off, this is how my star was looking earlier, and this is how it was looking with the effect. Now this time we give some sort of a fill to this star as well. To give a fill, right now the fill is none, or we haven't given any fill to the star. We can give this gradient to the star. And what if I want to add another gradient in this particular star? How can I do that? Just simply select it, then again go to this particular option which says add new fill. So just like we added number of strokes to this star, similarly we can add multiple fill to this object as well. We just have to click on this, and then again from the drop down we can select any of the fill that we want to give to this particular object. Now see, now in order to make this visible, now let's say you want to make the other fill effect visible. So you can just manage their opacity by clicking on this drop down arrow. And if you click on this opacity, you can just simply reduce the opacity. See, right now the yellow gradient and the blue gradient are merging. The blue gradient was transparent on one side, but this yellow gradient, it was actually going from orange to blue, right? It was actually going from orange to yellow. So we can even change the blending modes. Like right now it is normal, then you can give it a screen effect, color dodge, soft light, saturation. So all these effects we can try out. So when I gave it a multiply effect, it almost changed to some sort of a green and red tone, right? So this is how you can give multiple fills as well. Now again, if you want to give any sort of effect to this particular star which has multiple strokes and fills, then you have to just go on the effects, and with the list of effects you can select any one of the effects. Let's say this time okay, nothing really happened with this effect. Maybe it works on some sort of brushes and everything. So I'll just remove that particular effect and let's try out any other effect. Okay, now see, it gave it a stained glass effect. How cool does that look? Now you can utilize this in your illustrations and your artworks. And once you're increasing the size, I believe the number of tiles inside this stained glass tiles, they are also increasing and decreasing. So see, this one was with the radial effect, and this is with the stained glass effect. So it looks interesting. We can try out more effects from the list of effects, so you can experiment with them a lot. Now moving on, let's see one more thing that the appearance panel can do for us. Okay, instead of deleting, I'll just keep it here on top so that at last we can view what all things that we created today. All right, now let's say I'm taking a now let's give some other effects to object. Okay, for that we'll create another object. We'll take an ellipse. Okay, now right now if you see, I have this blue stroke on this ellipse and I don't want this. What if I want to clear the appearance for this particular ellipse? So one way is to just simply go to this triple bar and select the clear appearance option, or we have a shortcut right in the appearance panel which says clear appearance. So we can either select that and clear the appearance of this particular object. Okay, now that we have cleared the appearance and made this object flat, now I'll give it a stroke color of my choice. Let's say I'm giving this stroke color and I'm increasing the size of the stroke, width of the stroke. All right. Okay, now I want to make you understand one thing, that let's say I create a duplicate of this, Control C, Control C, Control F, and if I change the position and then again I create more duplicates with Control D. All right. Now see, we have created multiple duplicates of this object, but if you change it to outline view, the shortcut to change it to outline view is Control Y. You can see there are so many strokes that make up this particular thing, right? So there are so many strokes and duplicates that we have used. But okay, I'll change it back to its original mode. What if I don't want this? What if I want to create multiple copies of an object within the object without creating it, without creating multiple duplicates of it, which have their own separate properties? I just want that I want to create duplicate of this particular ellipse within this particular ellipse, and whatever effect I give to this ellipse, I want that it can be managed within the same object. So how can we do that? Well, we can do that very easily. All we have to do is just select this object, and then if you go to your appearance panel, there is an option which says duplicate selected item. We are going to click on that. Now, if you see, there is another layer that gets created. So I'll change the color of this particular stroke. Let's say I'll take this pink, and again the stroke which is above, I'll change the color of that to blue. Okay, now I'll give it some sort of transform property. For that, we have to select this particular layer and go to effects, then go to distort and transform and select transform. Now see, under this transform option, we have various other options. We can change the scale of this particular stroke. We can move it horizontally or vertically. We can rotate it, and many other options. So I want to change the angle of this particular stroke to 50 degrees. Now you can see the original stroke, the pink stroke, and the duplicate that we created of the stroke. And again, if we want to duplicate this particular object, we can do that again. Now I'll simply select the object again, and this time You have to select this, go to its layer, and then create a duplicate. Then again, we can see that another layer is created. We'll change the color of this layer to, let's say, orange. Then we'll transform its angle. We'll rotate it to a certain angle. For that, we have to go to Effects, Distort and Transform, Transform. This time we'll change the angle to -50. Now see, we have created this shape by using just one stroke. And how do you know that? Well, if you go to the outline view, hit Ctrl Y on your keyboard, you can see that only one stroke is visible to us. That is the initial original stroke that we created in the beginning, right? Now, instead of creating so many duplicates and so many strokes that we could do in normally, we created two more strokes of this particular object, or two more duplicates of this particular object by using the same stroke. Okay, so I'll hit Ctrl Y again. All right, now we can do a lot of the things to this particular object. Let's say if you change the size of this particular object, so it is going to implement that change on other strokes as well, on other duplicates as well. So just like, we create vectors in Illustrator, and if you increase the scale of that vector to any extent, the quality of that vector is going to remain the same. Why? Because Illustrator works on mathematical calculations, right? Similarly, what this appearance panel is doing, if we are applying a certain effect, if we are applying a certain transformation property to the original form that we created, Illustrator is effects we have applied to that particular layer. Just like we applied the transform effect, we can change all these properties from here again. So it is rotated at an angle of 50 degrees. So we can even change that from here. All right. So if you want to decrease or increase the opacity, just click on this opacity, and let's say I'll reduce the opacity. Make sure the layer is selected. Again, okay. Why this is not implementing? Because our object isn't selected, right? So these are small little things that you need to keep in mind. This can happen with you, so don't panic in that case. Just look what is going wrong where, and you'll be able to find how to fix that. So I'm going to change the opacity of this particular thing as well to 65%. Now, if you see, we are easily able to see the intersection points of this particular object that we have created. Look how wherever it is overlapping, there is a darker shade or there's a darker, color that is visible to us. Only this layer has full opacity, this pink ring has full opacity, and the other two layers we have decreased the opacity. We can even change their blending modes as well. Let's say I give it a multiply effect, and same with this one. Now see, how cool does that look, isn't it? So this is how you can, play around with the effects and everything and try out new things whenever you are creating something. So now let's say I want to, change the particular shape of this ring with direct selection tool. Now let's see what happens then. I'll select any of the anchor point and I'll just, change the shape to any random thing I want. Now see, when I'm changing the shape of that particular ring, it is being applied to the other rings as well. So how that shape has changed, you can easily view it here, right? I'll just undo it. or create a copy of this one. Let's just undo and bring back to its original shape. So I hope the idea is clear to you, whatever we are doing up till now, right? So we have changed the opacity of particular rings and we have given it some blending effects, right? Okay. So now what if I want to save this particular style, and what if I need to apply this particular style to other objects that I'm going to create? How can I do that? Well, for that we have another feature, which is the graphic styles option. And where can we find that feature? For that you have to go to window and look for graphic styles. It is right here and it has the shortcut Shift F5. I'm going to click on this graphic styles, and there is again a pop-up which has a set number of styles in that particular window. Now if you want to give a graphic style to any of the object, you can select the default graphic styles from here. Let's say I'm creating a circle and then I want to give it this graphic style. I'll click on this and it is the style of that object is going to change into the graphic style which I have selected from the graphic style window. All right, now what if I want to save this particular object as a graphic style? How can I do that? Well, all you have to do is simply select your object and then just click and drag that into the graphic style panel, and the object would be created and the particular style would be saved there. Well, it is already saved. See this particular box that has been added. Now let's say I'm creating an ellipse and I want to give this ellipse the same graphic style we have for this one. How can I do that? I'll simply click on this particular graphic style and you can now see that the same effect has been applied to this particular ellipse that we created, right? And not just ellipse, we can give this particular graphic style to any object that we are creating. See? And not just basic shapes. Let's say you are creating something from the pen tool. You're creating any random shape from the pen tool. And you want to give this shape a graphic style. You can just simply select this particular option and it will have the same properties of the graphic style that is saved by you. Again, if it is not a closed object, if it is a random path, let's say I draw a line segment. Now, will that graphic style work on this line segment? Well, yes, it is going to work for anything that you're going to create. I'll just simply select this graphic style and see how many different shapes that we have created, and we have given the same effect, the same graphic style that we have saved, right? Okay. I'll just decrease the size of these objects and place them here. Now let's say I have made an object which has a fill color. I have made this particular object and I'll give it a fill color. And if I give this graphic style to this particular object, let's see what happens. See, again, the graphic style has been applied to that object, right? So not even just shapes, we can give not even just shapes with fill and stroke properties, we can give this particular graphic style to text as well. For that, let's see, I'm typing a text. And I want it to have this graphic style. Now see, the letter A has changed into this graphic style. So that looks quite amazing to me and it can be utilized at many places. No wonder. So I can create a graphic style from text as well. Now let's say you have created an object and give it the save graphic style, but this time you want to make certain changes in that object. How can you do that? Well, it's quite simple. Let's say we have this object, and now I want to change a particular color in this object. How can I do that? I can simply go to my appearance panel and look at the particular layer in which I have to change the property. And let's say I want to change this pink color to a green color. So I'll simply go there and change the property, and then I will change this yellow to some other color, right? I can even decrease the stroke width or increase it. Then again, with the object selected, you can transform that blue ring as well. This time let's give it this color and decrease the stroke width. And if you want to give a specific effect to that particular ring, just select that, go to effects, and just go to any of the effect, and let's say this time we give it a scribble effect. Okay. So let's try out any of these, or let's say let's find something else. See, so we had selected zigzag effect and it has given a zigzag effect to this particular. So even after applying a particular graphic style, we can change the particular color, or maybe we can give some other effects to that object as well. All right, I'll just undo and bring it back to its original form. All right, then now what if I want to update a graphic style? How can I do that? This was to make changes in a particular graphic style, but then let's say we have created this. I'll take a duplicate of this, and see, I want to make certain changes in this. I want to maybe, let's say, stretch this. I have stretched this horizontally, and then I will change the color of this N. And then I want to give the same graphic style effect to this letter as we did to this one. How can we do that? Well, for that, we just need to select the letter, select the text layer, and then click on the particular graphic style effect that you created, and see that effect has been added to this particular letter as well. So this is how you can, experiment around with graphic styles, with objects that have strokes, with objects that have fill, and with objects that have that are text layers as well. So all of these things we have created using graphic style. So a lot other things can be created using the graphic style panel and the appearance panel, right? So don't remember the star that we created using the appearance panel and gave it a tiled effect. So I want you to experiment with this appearance panel. I want you to play around with all the effects that we have under our appearance panel, and I want you to create something interesting out of your creativity, because this appearance panel is going to help you in many ways. While you're creating logos, you can create some very custom shapes and very custom designs that are very unique and not cliche, and you can manage the properties of multiple objects of a single object. You can create duplicates of that particular object, and you can give them so many different properties all in just within one object, without even having to create duplicates of them and giving them different properties one by one. Now if you want to see the difference between this particular, let's say I create this particular shape, with the ellipse tool. Now, normally what we are going to do is we are going to create this shape once, then again we are going to create another shape, then rotate it, right? And then we will change its color from here. Then again you're going to create a duplicate of this one. Then you will rotate it. Then again you will change the color. Now see, you had to create 3 layers for this one. Let's say I'll just scale all these down. Now I'll select this one because I'm going to show you a difference. This is something that we created with the appearance panel using just one object, right? And this is something that we have created using the ellipse tool using 3 objects. And how can we see that? Well, if I select both of these objects and if I hit Ctrl Y, if I hit Ctrl Y, now you can see this particular object was created using just one stroke, and this object has 3 strokes. So this is the difference that the appearance panel would create for you. And you can create and manage multiple objects and their properties all at once simultaneously by using the appearance panel. So this is everything that you needed to know about the appearance panel. Now all you have to do is practice it while you have learned it and create something out of it. Only then you're going to remember all the functions and all the properties of this appearance panel. And I'll see you in the next session. Till then, keep learning and keep exploring. Bye bye.